Third down and 20.
And how you feeling after that really tightly contested close Super Bowl?
Yeah, that will go down as one of the greatest Super Bowls ever. Truly won't forget that one. But in all honesty, a little let down after that Super Bowl because I was hyping up in my head, the GOAT versus, probably the future GOAT or the best talent in this league. And I was expecting a little bit of better game. I texted you before the start of the game that I was changing my pick to Bucks money line. Just got the GOAT feel, I don't doubt the GOATs. And and I did not think the Chiefs wouldn't score a touchdown, but hats off to Todd Bowles and his game planning, getting this defense ready. D-line was truly all over the field. Devin White, Levante David were just flying to the ball. And first time we've really ever seen Andy Reid and this Patrick Mahomes offense just, in a fit, questioning like what to do,
Yeah, like what is your main takeaways you think from this game aside from, like you just said, those Bucks linebackers are insane. Like what do you think was the main problems for the Chiefs offense this game?
Well, I think we knew coming in that Tyreek Hill was going to be like not very involved because we saw in the second half of the last time they played really just two-man them. So, and they just never got that one guy to step up and make a play for them. If it was a Miko had a couple drops if I can remember, and Mahomes, it felt like he might have rushed some plays, and they just really could never get anything going. But my biggest takeaway was probably in the first half, all the penalty yards. When you almost accumulate about 100 yards in penalty-wise, you're going to shoot yourself in the foot. And right after that, this isn't the Falcons and the 49ers. I mean, this is Tom Brady, who's been here before, and he's going to know how to play with a lead in the biggest game of the year. And it just wasn't in the Chiefs' cards this time around.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with basically what all you were saying. And, so I want to show a couple of clips from the Super Bowl, basically what I was saying, reiterate kind of some of the stuff that Steed was saying. So, the first thing that I think was very apparent to all of us, and it was actually one of our main keys for the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl and have offensive production, was they need to be able to run the ball against light boxes. 6-man boxes, when you see the Bucs are in two high safeties, you needed to be able to run the ball, and that was one of the only real concerns I had, and many others had, about this Chiefs offense, was the running game the entire season has been really inconsistent. That's one of the reasons why they picked up Le'Veon Bell in the middle of the season, was that hopefully he would provide a spark for this running attack that really just wasn't there. So what I found really interesting, at the very start of the game, the first two plays, the Chiefs called 2 RPOs, right? And it did not work. Neither of them worked. They got a total of 3 yards on these 2 plays, setting up a 3rd and 7 on their first drive of the game. But what I found really interesting on this second play of the game, this RPO, was the Bucs showed very early in the game how they wanted to play this, how they were going to play this football game defensively. So the first thing we see here is we see Levante David following Travis Kelce. That was a big theme of the night, was that Levante David, whether it was in zone coverage with like pattern matching zones or just being near him, or even in man coverage, Levante David was constantly around Travis Kelce, which I think not necessarily surprised people. It's just, I think how effective it was really surprised people. If you were to tell me coming into this game that they were just going to have Levante David a lot of the times one-on-one with Travis Kelce underneath, I was going to say to you, well, I don't like that matchup. I'm thinking that the Chiefs take advantage of that all day, but that was not really the case in this football game. I mean, Travis Kelce did have a great day, right? He had like 133 yards, but
he had like 10 catches too still.
But it was just very inconsistent on offense all around. And then the next thing that we will see is, look on the top of the screen up here on this matchup. these corners on the outside, they were playing really, really, really aggressive this entire game. They were not letting the Chiefs get any free plays underneath. And on these RPOs, you see that, I don't know who this is, to be honest, but he just jumps this route, and Patrick Mahomes has nowhere to go with the football. And this kind of just ties back into what we were saying. Run the ball. You see this six-man box try to run the ball. Now, they did that a little bit, right? Let's go into a play where we see the Chiefs try to run the ball. And there is one player that kind of just stopped all of these run plays for the Chiefs. And that one player is Mr. 45, Devin White.
Yeah,
this is
good.
Insane. He had a tremendous football game and was a huge reason why the Chiefs, they had some minor success running it, but really didn't have any success at all. Just look at this play on this speed option from the Chiefs. He reads it instantly, cuts a gap, makes the play for a loss of a yard. Jeez. And this is a good run scenario for the Chiefs. This is what we were saying. Hey, you see 6 guys in the box, all these D-backs lining way 5, 6, 7 yards off the line of scrimmage. This is a great time to run the ball. They weren't able to. And this is a big problem for the Chiefs all day. So this is like the first plays of the game, right? The very beginning of the game. And the big problem with this wasn't necessarily that they couldn't get yards through their run game. The big problem was now the Bucs don't have to respect the run. They don't all they have to do is play coverage the entire game. They're allowed to have, these safeties way over the top. Oh, jeez. Yeah, they're allowed to have multiple safeties all at the top, right? Over the top. Mm-hmm. 3, 2 guys over top, so that guys like Tyreek Hill are always bracketed the entire game, and their effectiveness is completely mitigated on the game, right? And we saw that Tyreek Hill he had no space the entire game, whether it was underneath or over the top, and he wasn't really able to do anything. And here's where our point number 2 from our preview video came up. The third guy couldn't make plays. They needed Mecole Hardman, Byron Pringle, Sammy Watkins, one of these guys to step up. And, now on this third play, we kind of start seeing everything that went wrong for the Chiefs coming together. Because, as we said in that preview as well, the Bucs want these linebackers, double A gap pressure, all around the line of scrimmage. They love playing with these guys. This is what they want to do. They want to have these linebackers all over the field, so that it's tough to account for them, and they're making plays on all levels. Mm-hmm. So we'll see on this example here that the play from the Chiefs is you're basically high-lowing. I keep drawing on the wrong screen. Sorry. Here we go. You're high-lowing this right side corner on the screen, where you have a switch release where you have this guy coming and him way over the top, right? And this is where Mahomes wants to go with the football, deep right on third down. And as we saw on that first example, you're going to see Carlton Davis on the right side of the screen try to jump this underneath route. And this throw over the top on the high-low to Mecole Hardman is going to be open. And I honestly have no idea what happens here. It looks like Mecole Hardman pulls up. But this is not complete on third down, and this is a crucial play in the football game. You need this. So you can see here, this is exactly what we said the Bucs want to do. They want to get these linebackers involved, rush 5 in a third and long scenario, and you're going to see the pressure that they get in Mahomes' face, right? Vita Vea is right in the face. This is a tough throw, and Mahomes does an unbelievable job of making it. And this is a catchable ball. Oh.
Yeah, that's a touchdown right there. I mean,
regardless of what, this is a first down. You're starting to get towards the red zone. This is where the Chiefs, I believe, the main problem was in this football game. It wasn't the offensive line. It wasn't Mahomes. It was this third guy. You need to make these plays because these plays start backing the Bucs off. And it starts making them pay for blitzing these extra guys. The entire game and the entire season, the Chiefs have been making guys pay for blitzing, right? You could not blitz Patrick Mahomes because he will make you pay on the back end. That all went out the window this game because number 17, number 14, number 11, and number 13, Byron Pringle, Sammy Watkins, Mecole Hardman, and Demarcus Robinson, all weren't able to come up with plays. They couldn't win one-on-one. They couldn't beat zone coverage. And here's another example, right? So you're going to see Mecole Hardman's going to be locked one-on-one at the top of the screen. And the Bucs are going to be in this quads look that we also went over last video because you get a nice little natural bracket on the money guys, right? The Tyreek Hills, the Travis Kelce's. We want all the focus on them and the one-on-one on Mecole Hardman. And this is exactly what happens. You're going to have basically 6 guys covering 4. You're going to have 1, 2, 3 underneath with 1, 2, 3 over the top, all focused on 4 guys on the right side of the screen, on the right side of the field, with Mecole Hardman one-on-one top left. And Mahomes makes the right read. Mecole Hardman just can't come up with a play. This is what you needed. This is exactly what we were saying you needed to do to beat this Bucs team. And this is what the Chiefs had done up until this season. Whether it was Robinson or Hardman, albeit it wasn't consistent, they were getting plays one-on-one when they needed them. So all the stuff started kind of culminating together. The fact that they couldn't threaten the light boxes with a run game, the fact they couldn't win one-on-ones with these third and beyond guys on the roster, it just played exactly into what the Bucs wanted to do. So now we're going to see we have linebackers lined up in the A-gaps again. You know, you're going to see 5 guys all across the line of scrimmage. And then all of a sudden we're going to see I think this is, no, that's not Carlton Davis. It's Murphy Bunting, I believe. He's going to start showing pressure from the right side. I mean, Mahomes and the gang, they'll pick it up. They see, okay, he's coming. We're going to block an extra tight end. We're going to have this running back come over. But the problem is, this is exactly what Todd Bowles wanted them to do. Todd Bowles, the entire game was a step ahead because they're going to blitz a corner on the top of the screen. And he's going to be completely unblocked. They're going to drop the linebackers, and then this is where Mahomes starts running around. Right? Makes an insane play to give Hill a chance, but my God, it's just, this was the entire game. And this isn't all on the offensive line for not picking up that corner. This is on the whole team, basically. The whole script of the game has led up to the Bucs being able to get away with plays like these, right? You know, pass protection in the NFL especially is not just on the offensive lineman. It's an 11-man job. When you can't run the ball and you can't win one-on-ones, it gives the defense an excuse to bring 5 guys consistently to blitz players that would not normally be blitzing from the heavens, you know? And you know, this is on Mahomes for not seeing this blitz come off the left side. This is on the receivers for not getting open quickly enough. And then lastly, it's on the offensive line for not actually blocking the players and also not seeing it, right? It's an 11-man job. So I keep seeing people, oh, well, the Chiefs' offensive line was the whole reason they lost this game. Well, I didn't see any of the receivers coming up with plays. I saw plenty of drop footballs that we didn't see from this football team. Yeah, the offensive line was getting beat. But there's more to the story than just the offensive line losing, right? There's way more to the story than that. Because you allowed the Bucs to do exactly what they want to do. It's also on the coaching. The offensive line all day is trying to account for these damn linebackers that are ruining the game. So they try to block it heads up with just running back and a chip on this outside guy, but no one's accounted for the rush on the left side. This isn't all on the offensive line for not seeing it. It's on everyone. Yeah, Mahomes is just insane. So, real quick though, before we end this, last example. So, everyone's saying, oh, well, why didn't you just block extra guys, right? Why didn't you just block 7? Well, you think the Chiefs didn't try that? You think that Andy Reid didn't get to where he is by not trying different things, by having a pencil? it was even worse when they blocked extra guys because there was no space on the back end. Here, we're going to see they're blocking 7 guys. 7 freaking guys they're blocking. But look, no one gets open on the back end. Where is Mahomes going to throw this ball? Where is he going to throw the ball? There is no one open. And to add to that, I tracked every single pass from this game. So, the Chiefs had a true 5-man protection, no chips, just 5 guys blocking on 63% of their plays. And Patrick Mahomes had a 73.86 passer rating, 58% completion percentage, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 17 completions, 174 yards. If we go to the plays where they had multiple extra guys blocking, which includes 5 blockers plus 2 chips, 6 blockers and a chip, 7 blockers, like on that play just there. With 7 blockers, he had a 0 passer rating, 2 incompletions, or 1 incompletion and a pick. So 2 incompletions, technically, an 11-yard scramble. On 6 and a chip, there was only 2 plays, 70.83 passer rating, an incompletion and a 13-yard completion. And in 5 blockers plus 2 chips, you had a 51.39 passer rating with a pick, 2 incompletions, and 68 yards. So was the answer really to block extra guys this whole time? Was it really to do that when you're clearly having much more success? When you're only blocking 5 guys and you have more space on the back end?
Yeah.
For me, I truly think that this game came down to what our keys were. Third guy didn't step up. You couldn't run the ball. And your red zone was shit. I don't think the offensive line was not good. And they were letting a lot of guys through. But it was the script. It was the flow of the game. It was the schematics that let the Bucs really ravage this offensive line. Not necessarily the talent of the offensive line itself, at least in my opinion. And that's why you saw these plays where Mahomes was scrambling around all the time. There's no one open on the back end. Yeah, the offensive lineman can't get open.
That's what after Monday or Tuesday, a couple days after the Super Bowl, I really got I was watching all these sports shows, nitpicking what went wrong. I think in the whole, you can just kind of look at it like the Bucs outcoached you. You just got beat.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Nothing more than that. It's not like you're playing an inferior team or something like that. But who's to say that Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, you've won 25 games in a row, something crazy like that. You kind of underestimated the Bucs, and Todd Bowles just had something for you, and it's just
he was a step ahead the whole game.
Yeah.
Todd Bowles was 2 steps ahead actually.
And
the entire match.
I'm not saying the Chiefs players and coaching staff was not hyped for this game, think about who's more hyped for this game: the home underdog who's actually playing at home in Tampa, or the Chiefs who just think they're invincible. I still think that playing at home during the Super Bowl gave them a huge just like a momentum boost, because players play off that that momentum swing crap. So you could count that, but I just at the end of the day, crappy Super Bowl. Wish it was better, but hats off to the Bucs for just out coaching them. I mean,
yeah, it's just
if that's
they outplayed them in all facets.
Yeah, if that's your team, you're cheering for, that's how you want to win every game. Is just beat the dog crap out of the other team, just bury them in the dirt.
Yeah, it was just an absolute masterclass by Bowles. The way that he was able to force one of the most elite offenses we've seen in recent times, to force them to do exactly what he wanted. He wanted Patrick Mahomes to be scrambling back there. He wanted him to be looking deep every play. Todd Bowles, that's exactly with the way that they designed that defense for this game, to make sure that they have 2 guys on Tyreek Hill, one over the top constantly. He learned from that last matchup what happened when you try to play this defense too up front, letting space in the back, right? They allowed no space in the back end and basically forced their linebackers, hey, you guys have to go out there and play a hell of a game. And they did, right? Levante David had a hell of a game on Travis Kelce, which freed up Devin White to be the type of talent that he is. They didn't say, hey, Devin White, you're a talented guy. You go cover Travis Kelce. No. They allowed the game plan to play to White's strengths. They allowed the game plan to play to David's strengths and their offense and their defensive line's strengths, right?
Yeah. I mean, I remember Devin White when he was coming out of LSU. Like, his strength at linebacker was, sideline to sideline. He can cover the whole field and make a play. It doesn't matter.
And he's a tremendous pass rusher. It showed yesterday.
I mean, the emphasis on that was huge in that game. But also, one thing about Todd Bowles is, his name was thrown around for head coaching jobs this offseason. I did get one. I know he interviewed with the Falcons, and Falcon fans just said, oh, no, I don't want to. But you know what? He will be number one of everybody's list next year because of this game and because of their run in this playoffs. And actually probably the last half of the season, the way the defense shaped up and took form. And, it's kind of like Saleh. Who saw Saleh being a head coach 2 years ago, but he had that amazing defense. They performed well. Granted, he didn't win the Super Bowl, but, I got to
Dude, at the beginning of his tenure, people were calling for his head. Some of the Niners fans.
I mean, it's just, defenses aren't, maybe this defense was kind of built overnight because of free agency, but, them
not
really,
necessarily, though.
Yeah, no, Shaq Barrett, Devin White, and Levante David's been there forever. It's just, I really think, for a defensive scheme and a defense, they have to find themselves during the course of the season. Very few are you going to find, the Bears team where they got Khalil Mack and it was, immediate impact. But, I think that's what you kind of saw. Once they bought into it, and then they kind of got that elite, and you really found Devin White during the course of the season evolve from, good talent, top 5 pick, good player, top 10 linebacker, into now probably arguably the best linebacker in the league. So
no, I completely agree with that. They had to find a way, because Devin White is not perfect at everything. No, if you want to use him as a pure coverage linebacker, he's not good. Not necessarily he's not good, but compare him to Levante David, right? Levante David is a much better coverage linebacker than Devin White. But they didn't ask Devin White, hey, go in and try and cover the best tight end in the league. They asked him, hey, pass rush, line up in the A gap, play fast, be the stopper of the run game. And that kind of role for him is perfect. And that is just what was so awesome to watch about this game, was that when we went over that first matchup, right? The way that Todd Bowles was using his linebackers, it was they were just kind of in a fits. They were always in between. When they would rush, it was too late to get to the quarterback. When they would play coverage, it was just people were stretching him over the top and they weren't able to do what they like to do, right? They want to play physical, and they want to have these linebackers up and around the line of scrimmage so that the offensive line can't account for what they're doing, and you can use their speed. And to see them devise a plan and execute it absolutely perfectly against one of the best talented quarterbacks we've ever seen, man, was that just so cool to watch. And to watch, Levante David and Devin White mix perfectly, that pass rush. Guys like Vita Vea that we loved coming out just play awesome, and watching move these guys around and use stunts. And because it used to be that you didn't want to stunt Patrick Mahomes because it would take too long for the loop to get around and he'd make you pay, but that obviously wasn't the case because they were using stunts all night long. I don't know. It was awesome to watch this Super Bowl. I was wishing for a closer game, but in terms of a coaching masterclass, doesn't get better for Todd Bowles. A guy that, if you watch our coaching carousel segment from a while ago, we were saying we think this guy should get a job. Just saying. Not to toot our own horn or anything, but we are.
I mean, dude, that's one more thing about Todd Bowles. It's like it's crazy that like some coaches do not understand this in the league. But Devin White, not the best coverage linebacker, but just to make a play in the ball, he'll go get it. Levante David, much better coverage linebacker, and Todd Bowles knew that, and he said, "Why am I going to play down to your weakness when I can just play your strength and do it like this?" I see like in a lot of teams, dude, like they just got players out of position and it doesn't make any sense. You think it's rocket science at this point, be like, "Hey man, you're good at that thing. Well, you're going to do that, and I'm going to get a guy that can do the other thing that you're not so good at," and then it's fine.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's why guys like Belichick are viewed as some of the top coaches, because there is a problem with coaching in that instead of taking the most talented guys and working a system to fit around them, they take players to fit around their system that they know works and they're comfortable with. And I mean, to be honest, it is tough to tailor. It is tougher than you think to tailor a system around your players, especially when your players aren't elite level talents. But I mean, you're right. Like, we've seen some of these defensive guys. You just give them a roster. Guys like Todd Bowles. What's the Schwartz in Philly, right? Like, you finally gave, and Philly's defense was not insanely talented, but you gave them some pieces to work with, and you saw the progression of that unit, right? I mean, your Falcons just got a guy that I really love, Dean Pease. I'm excited to see what he can do with that defense. We're gonna have a mock draft coming out that'll give him some good defensive pieces.
Nice,
but yeah, I still never understood. I understand, but I never liked when the Jets got rid of Bowles. That defense was still very elite with the Jets, and a Jets defense that didn't have insanely depth talent like the Bucs do. They had some great players, but
are you saying the Jets did something wrong? Shocker.
Yeah, who saw that coming, right? But yeah, all in all, Super Bowl. I wish it was closer, but I thought from a schematic standpoint, it was pretty fun to watch.
And we went through pretty much the whole Super Bowl then without recognizing Brady a lot, because like we didn't really talk about Brady, but congrats to Brady.
I mean, yeah, like, the three biggest winners for me from the Super Bowl, Tom Brady, because he's now definitely the GOAT. I mean, yeah. I thought he was before, but he is. Todd Bowles, like we've already talked about, and Taylor Heineke. Taylor Heineke had the best game against that Bucs defense, just got the contract extension. I'm excited to see what he can do in Washington if he gets a shot to fight for the spot in camp. I'm a Taylor Heineke believer. He proved me wrong. I believe.
After that defense playing like they did against Breeze, Rodgers, and Mahomie, I full on believe in Taylor Heineke right now. Give me more of the Heineke. Give me more of the Heine.
I mean, even if he's just a career backup, he's the kind of guy that I would want on my football team. After seeing how he can like command the team, now it could easily be a Matt Flynn kind of performance, but regardless. He was so good running and throwing the football. I don't want to turn this into a Taylor Heineke segment. We don't have the time for that, but I'm a Taylor Heineke believer. I believe.
He's gonna get a shot. He'll get a shot at camp.
Yeah, he's on the roster. I'm rooting for him, man. I really hope that he's a guy that can get a starting job somewhere.